Good morning. Just want to say, Epstein did not kill himself. With that, we have a lot of other things to get into, specifically circling around court cases that have happened, Laken Riley being the specific one to look at, as well as updates regarding the Texas flood. And finally, we're going to get into what causes heart disease and diabetes in black people. Latest research. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your head off. All right. Leftist judge blocks Trump for defending Planned Parenthood with the big beautiful bill. So the way that the government is supposed to work, you've got the legislative branch that makes the laws, the executive executes on the laws, hence executive, and the judicial group, that is the branch that essentially tells you whether or not that law is supposed to be constitutional. That is how it's supposed to work. So the legislature just passed the big beautiful bill, and in it defunds Planned Parenthood for a year. Well, we all know lefties love sacrificing babies, and they do not like this one bit. So they judge shopped, and they found a judge that is willing to circumvent the whole judicial process as far as what has happened relative to district court judges who are now not supposed to be able to do nationwide injunctions. She ignores that, does it anyway, and ignores the whole point of the rule of law. This is now a law. So, yesterday, Planned Parenthood sued the Trump administration over provision, the BBB, that would have cut federal funding for abortion giant. A leftist federal judge in Massachusetts blocked the provision outright. The U.S. District Judge Indria Talwani, an Obama appointee, surprise, surprise, approved Planned Parenthood's request to halt the provision which freezes Medicaid funding for Planned Parenthood for 1 year. Should have been 10 in the House version. Talwani's restraining order, which will last for 2 weeks, holds that defendants, their agents, employees, yada, 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 must hereby enjoin from enforcing retroactively or otherwise applying the relevant portion of the bill. So in other words, no matter what, you have to keep paying Planned Parenthood. Where is she getting her money from, I wonder? Defendants shall take all steps necessary to ensure that Medicaid funding continues to be dispersed in the customary manner, Talwani added. Either she's getting her money somehow from Planned Parenthood or she worships Moloch. I mean, those are your choices. Once again, the left is showing who the victim is. They're choosing the actual criminal as the victim and putting them on a platform, George Floyd says what, instead of actually looking at who the real victims are. Laken Riley's killer is basically going to probably get a retrial, which is absolutely insane. Jose Ibarra, the illegal immigrant convicted of murdering 22-year-old Laken Riley, secured a major court victory last Thursday. A judge ordered a mental evaluation that could lead to a new trial. Let's hope not. Ibarra, 27, was found guilty in November on 10 charges, including murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault with intent to rape Riley, who he murdered after she went jogging on the University of Georgia in Athens. According to court documents, Ibarra's defense attorney claimed he lacks the mental capacity to understand the nature and object and proceedings and is suffering from congenital deficiency, which could render the client incapable of preparing a defense and standing trial. What the F ever. Just want to remind everybody, Laken Riley was jogging out on campus jogging trail that everybody knew about, very common. This illegal jumped her, bludgeoned her, and then when she had the gall to fight back for her life and prevent him from trying to grape her, he then proceeded to bash her head into nothing. This man is an absolute psychopath that should be thrown into a pit of alligators. I hope he has a wonderful stake somewhere in Alligator Alcatraz. They can just put him along the perimeter somewhere because what he did was just awful. Prosecutor Sheila Ross noted in court filings there was no evidence during the trial suggesting Ibarra wasn't mentally competent, though she didn't oppose the evaluation and instead left the decision up to the judge. Big mistake. Ibarra, a member of the violent Venezuela gang Tren de Agua, waived his right to a jury trial. Judge Haggard sentenced the illegal immigrant to life in prison without parole. Wow, he actually did something right. Ibarra had illegally entered the U.S. during the Biden administration's border crisis, having been detained in El Paso, Texas in September 2022, but was released after about a day. January, President Donald Trump signed a law, the Laken Riley Act, which requires federal officials to arrest non-U.S. nationals, illegals, accused of violent and theft-related crimes in the U.S. and thereby deport them. Iberia had previously arrested for other offenses, but he was released in New York City, a sanctuary city, before federal authorities could issue a detainer. Again, if you live in a sanctuary city, get out. If you have left a sanctuary city and you are moving to a red area, quit the cycle. Break the cycle of this death and destruction. Disgusting. An update on the flood victims. The death toll has now jumped up another 20. It will probably continue to climb. It's now over 100 confirmed dead. It's estimated there's still about 10 or so of those that are probably children that are still missing. Death count for children is around 28, with another 10, again, children that are presumed probably dead or missing. Heart goes out to those children. And this right here just shows what the leftoids really, really care about, and that is nothing. Texas Pediatrician was fired for saying the MAGA flood victims got what they voted for. In a since-deleted tweet, a doctor at the we'll get into it, the Bluefish Pediatrics, made a tweet. May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Tier County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. For those that do not know, bless their hearts, that's basically a very southern way of saying F you without saying F you. This woman is an absolute degenerate and needs to be slapped by a bunch of chipmunks until she dies. That's going to be a long, slow, painful process, and she deserves it after all the children that have suffered and died from the flooding. I would like for her to explain this. Blue hair out there, get in the comments, explain this to me. Why is this okay type of rhetoric? For number one, what happened under Biden under FEMA for anybody that was supposedly Trump? Oh, that's right, they didn't help them. What did Biden administration do under the floods in North Carolina and Tennessee? Oh, that's right, they didn't do anything until public pressure caused them to actually go out, and then they even sat in their trucks and did nothing for the most part. They gave out, what, $700 checks to people in Hawaii that voted for them, but then got $700 after their homes burnt down, and some of them were actually told to go back into the fire zone. So again, don't talk to me about FEMA when their primary job in the last administration was literally to help house illegals in hotels. That's where the majority of the FEMA funding. Don't even try to go there. You absolutely blue-haired nut job. The Bluefish Pediatrics made a statement, says we do not support or condone any statement that politicizes tragedy and diminishes human dignity or fails to clearly uphold compassion for every child and family regardless of background and beliefs. Good on them for firing this witch. We continue to extend our full support to the families and the surrounding communities who are grieving, recovering, and searching for hope. Just want to note that it's nice to see that when somebody does this kind of stuff and it comes out, they get what's coming to them. They got fired. And for you to make this kind of statement and wish that death on children who don't, because the parents don't share your political beliefs and you hope they die, you do not need to be in the medical community. This type of mentality is why you're going to get disparate care if you go in and you showcase any sort of red hat or any sort of political leaning toward the right, because you're going to get insane nurses who have been put in there by DEI who are going to judge you on it and give you below average care to the point where your health may suffer from it. Just keep that in mind. Speaking of fatiguing type of mentality, Carnival Cruise updates rules trying to clean up their behavior. I saw some of the videos on TikTok and X, and they are absolutely grotesque as far as the type of behaviors that are going on Carnival Cruises. Carnival Cruise is trying to get back towards center instead of allowing people to just go absolutely nuts and do whatever they want. They're trying to institute policies. There's one video of some women who come back. They're supposed to be back on the ship at like 5:30 and they show up at like 5:50 and the ship had left because they didn't think that the timeline for them or the curfew to be back on the ship mattered to them because they thought they were special. Yeah. Narcissism. Statement from Carnival Cruise is great. This is what they're going they're having to deal with, and they're standing by what they have put out. We have always had a wide variety of entertainment options, and for the last several years, we have communicated our expectations about guests' behavior. The rules include stricter policy regarding drugs, marijuana, including cannabis and its derivatives, and other illegal substances are unlawful and strictly prohibited on board. Smoking of any kind in undesignated areas, such as staterooms and balconies, is strictly prohibited. Guests under the age of 17 must stay out of public areas after 1 a.m. unless accompanied by an adult. The new rules also say that certain handheld fans are also prohibited due to the loud clack sound. The letter also prohibits portable speakers from being used without headphones. There's also a 15-drink maximum in a 24-hour period. So I'm sure all of us normal people listening to this being like, sounds very reasonable. You shouldn't be doing drugs while on a cruise where there's probably going to be children. If you have kids and they're out running amok at 1 a.m., they should probably be in their stateroom instead of jumping off a balcony into a pool or something. Going nuts with the loud clack with the fans. That's a new one on me. I haven't heard that, but I'm sure it's fantastic. Also, portable speakers. If you haven't heard of earbuds, you can get earbuds. Nobody wants to hear your music except for you. So you can get earbuds, hear your wonderful music that you think is so great. I mean, I have music, and I guess what I do? I wear earbuds because I know nobody has my weird taste in music. It's called respect for other people. And some people just don't have that. Several social media users have reacted with accusations of racism. Of course, because any sort of, degenerate behavior and trying to prohibit degenerate behavior is always going to be the R word. Makes sense to me. Saying that Carnival is trying to discourage black vacationers from their cruise ships by coming up with rules specifically targeting their actions per the Root. For those that don't know what the Root is, it is just a racist publication. Just type in theroot.com. Go look at it. You'll pull your hair out reading it. One person on TikTok replied saying, Carnival does not have to worry about me, noting how she canceled her reservations following the new rules having been posted. We got the message loud and clear. We are not your demographic anymore. Carnival decided they wanted to rebrand. You know what? Good on her. She recognizes she subscribes to degenerate behavior, and she is not welcome there anymore. Fantastic. More companies need to stand up and say, you know what? We don't allow degenerate behavior in our facilities anymore. That would be a wise move. Why would you not want people to be able to bring speakers to listen to their own music? A woman said in TikTok, which included the caption, Carnival Cruise Lines does not like colored people. That's a very odd thing to say. Very odd. Good on Carnival. And again, we now have the latest health news coming from Jamal Bowman. For those that do not know Jamal Bowman, he is the one who pulled the fire alarm to try and stop a vote at one point, like the most childish, and he didn't think he was going to get caught. He thought it was the exit lever. Like, really? What are you, 2? Whatever. This is his own blathering, caught on probably some leftoid news place. I don't even care where it's coming from. The problem is we're not dealing with America's original sin. This disease of hate and racism towards black and brown people and sexism towards women and anti-LGBTQ sentiment. We are not dealing with that. Your colleagues in the Republican Party do not hold each other accountable when it comes to racism that comes from the party on a consistent basis. Where you are calm about this, I am a black man in America. The reason why heart disease, listen to what I'm saying, the reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in black communities is because the stress we carry for having to being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. Oh yes, those microaggressions. He then added, if your colleagues would listen and try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country. But unfortunately, we're still here. The white panelist stated, okay, because his race matters, I feel your passion. I understand where you're coming from. I really do. But then Bowman interjected, we have cops that beat black people to death and they're acquitted. No, we don't. No, we don't. Go look the unarmed statistics as far as who gets killed and then put that relative to the amount of interactions. If you are a white male, you're more likely to get shot in police interactions. Why? Because there's no racial implications if a white dude gets shot when there is with black. If you're black, you're much less likely to get killed dealing with police. Oh, and guess what? All those inner city hoods and whatnot, Guess what color the majority of these police officers and chiefs of police are? That's right, it's not white, so it can't be racial. All I can say is, jigga please. I'm sorry, you niggas thought I was going to say that, didn't you? Ah! Mouthy out.